Today's video is going to be a step in the background of what goes on in my recording studio. When I was a student, I once had the opportunity to ask my teacher if I could watch her practice, and she declined the offer or the request because I don't think she was comfortable in letting me watch how the sausage is made. Well, today you're going to see how the sausage is made. I have a tune. It's titled Nun Suk der Tag, or something along those lines. My German's not great. I have not played it before. So you are going to watch me hash out how I'm going to play this hymn. I'll try to give you a running commentary as we go along so you can see what my thoughts are as I go through this. The piece is in 4 flats and it's F minor. Generally quarter notes with occasional eighth note, phrase endings with long notes. All right. And that moment I paused at the end of the first measure going into the second, I was looking at the chords that I coming up and making sure I had fingered everything properly up to that point, sufficient to play those chords. Moving on. Now, because I made a mistake there, I'm going to redo it. And the first time through something, I'm not real worried about playing absolutely in time. I don't hesitate to give myself a chance to make sure I play everything correctly. Because if you start making mistakes right off the bat, those mistakes very quickly become ingrained, and you'll have to spend time unlearning those mistakes. Going on. At that point, I'm very observant of the key change we have, or the losing of the E flat. So we're getting into and the D. So probably heading to a C major, which we do. But that kind of accidentals I make a special note of. Going on now. And at that point, when I got to the third beat of the next to last measure, I made a decision to take the top tenor note and put it into my right hand. Since post-surgery on my left hand, I can no longer reach something that far or be comfortable with that. So I just swapped the voicing. And the same thing goes for the A flat in the tenor part on the very last chord. All right, now I'm going to play through it again. All right, at this point, I have to make a decision on tempo. A couple of the elements I will look at in figuring out a tempo. Now, having recorded, my guess is 5,000 unique hymn tunes, or maybe 4,500 unique hymn tunes. I probably knew 300 of them before I started this project. So the vast majority of the hymns I have played on my YouTube channel, I never heard before I played them. So trying to identify a tempo on an completely unfamiliar hymn at the drop of a hat became quite a learning experience. And a lot of my earlier recordings, if I had to do them again, I certainly would make very different decisions on tempo. That doesn't mean they're wrong, it's just maybe not ideal. In this particular, one of the first things I look at is the type of rhythm values we have. If we've got, in most situations, you're going to have 2 or 3 note values present. You'll either have as in this case, quarter notes, eighth notes, and half notes. There's pretty much what you've got. If you had 4, and you're going to have some very fast notes, that's going to push your slower notes even slower. Your typical singer can only go so fast. So that kind of creates an upper limit as to how fast we're going to go. So I do look at what the fastest note value is and work backwards from that. In a simpler situation like this, where most of the movement is by the quarter note, with only a few moving inner parts in the eighth note, we've got a little bit more flexibility as what we can set up as the tempo. But that tempo right there that I just played, I think is very appropriate for it. This is not an energetic, happy, kick your feet up kind of tune. It is very introspective in this tune. And it's a very introspective text. So that argues for a slower tempo. So I appreciate your time. I would encourage you, if you enjoyed this, drop me a note. Certainly subscribe to the channel. There are links in the description to a bunch of my playlists. I've got hundreds or dozens and dozens of playlists. Happy to hear from you. Bye now.